I didn't see you there. It's quite all right. I would much rather talk than work. And yet, I am haunted by one thought. I must write, I must write, I must write. This is my study, the room in which I write my stories. I do my writing here at the side of the room because the roof leaks directly over my desk. And I move my desk, but it covers a hole I left in the floor. And the floor was built on the side of a hill, so in heavy rains the room tends to slide downhill. Many's the day I've stood in this cabin and passed by my neighbors standing in the road. Still, I'm happy here. Though I don't get as many visitors as would suit me. So people tend to shy away from writers. They assume we're always busy thinking. Not true. Even my dear sweet mother doesn't wish to disturb me, so she tiptoes up here and leaves my food by the door. I haven't had a hot meal in years, but I've done a good deal of writing here, perhaps too much. Sometimes I look out the window and think that life is passing me by at a furious rate, so I ask myself the question, what force is it that compels me to write so incessantly, day after day, page after page, story after story? And the answer is quite simple. I have no choice. I am a writer. Sometimes I think I may be mad. Oh, don't worry, I'm quite harmless. Though I do admit to fits of wandering. Sometimes I am engaged in conversations where I hear nothing and see only the silent movement of lips, and I respond with an empty yes, yes, of course. And all the while I'm thinking, he'll make a wonderful character for a story, this one. But still, while I'm writing, I enjoy it. I like to read the proofs, though as soon as it appears in print, I see that it's all wrong, a mistake, that it ought never to have been written, and I am miserable. And then the public reads it. Oh, charming and clever. Charming, but a far cry from Tolstoy. A fine work, but Turgenev's father said Sons was better. And so it will be, charming and clever. Charming and clever, nothing more, until the day I die. And my friends will walk by my grave, and they'll say, here lies so-and-so. A good writer, but Turgenev was better. You know, it's funny, but I was actually thinking of giving it up one day. But what would I do instead? Now, I've never freely admitted this before, but to you here in the theater tonight, I would like to tell you what I always wanted to do, ever since I was a small child. Excuse me, just a moment. Just writing down an idea I had for a short story. What was it we were talking about? Oh, never mind. My thoughts are consumed with this new story. See if this appeals to you. It starts in a theater, on the opening night of a new season, where all those dear and devoted patrons of the arts wave and greet each other in the grand salon, commenting on how this one looks and how that one is dressed, all the while not knowing what play they're about to see that evening. With the exception of one man. Ivan Ilyich Churchikov. If Ivan Ilyich Churchikov, a civil servant, a clerk in the Ministry of Public Parks, had any passion in life at all, it was the theater. He certainly had hopes and ambitions for higher office and had dedicated his life to hard work, zeal, and patience. Still, he would not deny himself his one great pleasure, so he purchased 2 tickets in the very best section of the theater for the opening night performance of Rostov's The Bearded Countess. As fortune would have it, into the theater that night came his respected superior, General Mikhail Razumov, the Minister of Public Parks himself.
Good evening, General.
What? Oh, yes, good evening.
With me, sir, I'm Sherdyakov. Ivan Ilyich. This is a great honor for me, sir.
Yes.
Like yourself, General, I too serve the Ministry of Public Parks. That is to say, I serve you, who is indeed himself, the Minister of Public Parks. I am the Assistant Chief Clerk in the Department of Trees and Bushes.
Ah, yes. Lovely trees and bushes this year. Keep up the good work. Very good.
My wife would very much like to say hello, sir. This is my wife, she, Madame Sherdyakov.
How do you do?
My pleasure.
My pleasure, General.
How do you do?
Madame Brasilov, my wife, Madame Sherdyakov.
How do you do, Madame Brasselhoff? How do you do? I just had the pleasure of meeting your husband.
And I am my wife's husband. How do you do, Madame Brasilov?
Hey! Sorry, terribly sorry.
I hope you enjoyed the show, sir.
I will. Watch it.
Ivan Ilyich Churchikov sat back to enjoy the bearded countess. He and the Minister of Public Parks were no longer strangers. They had become, if one wanted to be generous about the matter, familiar with each other. And then, quite suddenly, without any warning, like a bolt from a gray thundering sky, Ivan Ilyich Churchikov reared his head back and...
Achoo! Oh my goodness, sir, I am sorry. I am so terribly sorry.
Never mind. It's all right.
All right, it certainly is not all right. It was unpardonable. It was monstrous of me.
You make too much of the matter, young man. Let it rest.
Let it rest? How can I let it rest? It was inexcusable. Permit me to wipe your neck, General. It's the least I can do. Leave it be! But
It's all right, sir, I say.
But I splattered you, sir. Your complete head is splattered. It was an accident. I assure you, but it's disgusting.
Sorry, my apologies.
The thing is, it came completely without warning. It was out of my nose before I could stifle it. Sorry, yes, certainly. It's not a cold, too. It's just a particle dust in the nostril.
But try as he might, Chernyakhov could not put the incident out of his mind. The sneeze, no more than an innocent anatomical accident, grew out of all proportion in his mind until it resembled the angry roar of a cannon aimed squarely at the enemy camp. He played the procedure back in his mind, slowing it down so he could view again in horror the infamous deed.
Shoo!
Charming.
Yes, charming.
Simply charming. Wasn't it charming, my dear?
I found it utterly charming.
I was completely charmed by it.
Sir, somebody's tapping. Who's that tapping?
I'm tapping, sir. I'm the tapper. Sure you got it.
Watch out, dear, it's a sneezer.
No, quite all right. I'm all sneezed out. I was just concerned about you going out tonight here with a damp head.
Oh, that. It was a trifle, a mere faux pas. Forget it, young man. Amusing play, don't you think? Did you find it amusing?
Music. Oh my goodness, yes. I didn't laugh as much in years.
Which part interested you the most?
The sneeze. When I sneezed on you. It was unforgivable, sir.
Forget it, young man. Come, my dear. Looks like rain. I don't want to get my head wet again.
You shouldn't let people sneeze at you, dear. You're not to be sneezed at.
I'm ruined. Ruined. He'll have me fired from trees and bushes. Let's not be down to branches and twigs.
Come, Ivan. You must not let it concern you. It was just a harmless little sneeze. The general's probably forgotten about it already.
Do you really think so?
No, I'm scared, Ivan.
And so they despair.
Maybe I should send the general a nice gift. Perhaps some Turkish towels?
Chernyakov's once promising career had quite literally been blown away.
Why did this happen to me? Why did I go to the theater at all? Why didn't I sit with people in my own class? They love sneezing on each other. Perhaps if I were to call the general and apologize in such an honest, charming, and self-effacing manner, he would have no choice but to forgive me.
Maybe it's best not to remind him, Ivan.
No. If I'm to accept the gentleman, I must behave like one.
And so the morning came. It so happened this was the day the general listened to petitions. And since there were 50 or 60 petitions ahead of Chernyakov, he waited from morning till late afternoon.
Next. Next!
I'm not next, sir. I'm last.
Very well then. Last.
That's me, sir.
Well, what is your petition?
I don't have a petition, sir. I am not a petitioner.
Then you waste my time.
Do you not recognize me, sir? We met last night under rather explosive circumstances.
What?
I'm sure you go. The sneezing? The sneezer splatter?
Truly. And what is it you want now? Gesundheit?
No, Your Excellency. Your forgiveness. I want to know there's no antisocial or anti-political motivation behind my sneeze. It was a non-partisan, non-violent act of God. I cursed the other protuberance formed itself in my face. It's a hateful no, sir, and I'm not responsible for its own indiscretions. Punish that which committed the crime, but absolve the innocent body behind it. Examine my notes and forgive me, sir. Forgive me.
Look, young man, I am not angry at your nose. I'm far too busy to have time for your nasal problems. I suggest you go home and take a hot bath or a cold one. I don't know. Take something. But don't bother me with this nonsense ever again. Gibber, gibber, gibber. That's all I heard all day. Gibber, 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 gibber.
God bless you, sir. May your days be sweet, and may your nights be better than your days.
The feeling of
Sing at your window in the morning, and may your coffee be strong and hot.
the weight of the burden that was lifted seemed inestimable.
I worship the chair you sit on, and the uniform that you wear that sits on the chair that I worship.
He walked home, singing and whistling like a lark. Life was surely a marvel, a joy, a heavenly paradise.
Oh goodness, I am happy.
And yet, as he arrived home, he began to think.
Have I been the butt of a cruel and thoughtless joke?
Had the minister toyed with him?
If he had no intention of punishing me, why did he torment me so unmercifully?
If the sneeze meant so little to the minister, why did he deliberately cause Chernykov to writhe in his bed?
The twist of agony, tired night.
Chernykov was furious.
I am furious.
He foamed and fumed and paced the night through, and in the morning he called out to his wife, Sonia!
I have been humiliated.
I don't know. You're such a kind and generous person.
Who? I'll tell you who. General Brasselhoff, the Minister of Public Parks.
What did he do?
The swine! I was humiliated in such subtle fashion. It was almost indiscernible. The man's cutting is equal only to his cruelty. He practically forced me to come down to his office and grovel and beg on my knees. I was reduced to a gibbering idiot. I must go back and tell him what I think of him. The lower classes must speak up. The world must be made safe. The men of all needs and creations, regardless of color or religion, will be free to sneeze on their superiors. It is he who will be humiliated by I.
And so the next morning, Chernykov came to humiliate he.
Last!
Well, you say? Do you not recognize me, Your Excellency? Yes, you're quite correct as I, once again.
It is you once again. Who?
Chernykov, sir, and I have returned, having taken neither a hot bath nor a cold one.
Let this filthy man in. What is it?
What is it? What is it? You ask. You sit there behind your desk and ask, what is it? You sit there as General and Minister of Public Parks, a member of high standing among the upper class. You ask me, a lowly civil servant, what is it? You sit there knowing that there is no equality in this life, that there are those of us who serve and those that are served, those of us who obey and those that are obeyed, those of us who bow and those of us that are bowed to. That in this life there are certain events that take place that cause some of us to be humiliated and some of us to be the cause of that humiliation. And still you ask, what is it?
Yeah!
What is it? Don't stand there gibbering like an idiot. What is it you want?
I'll tell you what I want!
You tell him!
I wanted to apologize again, sir. I was trying to make it quite clear it was an accident, I assure you.
Out! Out, you idiot! Fool! Imbecile! I never want to see you again. You cross my line of vision, I'll have you exiled forever. What's your name? Sure you Germ spreader, you maggot, you insect. You are lower than an insect. You are the second cousin to a cockroach, the son-in-law of a bedbug. You are the nephew of a ringworm. You are nothing. Do you hear me? Nothing!
At that moment, something broke loose inside of Cherdikov. Something so deep and vital that it can only be described as the very life force itself. The matter was over, for once, for all, forever. What happened next was quite simple. Ivan Ilyich Cherdikov walked home. He removed his coat, lay down on the sofa, and died. Disappointed by life's cruelties, there is an alternate ending. Ivan Ilyich Cherdikov walked home, removed his coat, lay down on the sofa, and inherited 5 million rubles. There's not much point to it, but it is uplifting. I can assure you it is not my intention to paint life any harsher than it is, but there are some of us in certain situations who are indeed trapped. Witness the predicament of a young governess who cares for and educates the children of a well-to-do family.
Julia!
Trapped indeed.
Julia!
Yes, ma'am?
Look at me, child. Pick your head. I like to see your eyes when I speak to you.
Yes, ma'am.
And how are the children coming along with their French lessons?
They're very bright children. Ma'am?
Eyes up! They're bright, you say? Well, why not? In mathematics? They're doing well in mathematics, I assume.
Yes, madam. Especially Vanya.
Certainly. I knew it. I excelled in mathematics. He gets that from his mother. Wouldn't you say?
Yes, ma'am.
Head up. That's it. Don't be afraid to look people in the eyes, my dear. If you think of yourself as inferior, that's exactly how people will treat you.
Yes, ma'am.
A quiet girl, aren't you? Now then, let's settle our accounts. I imagine you must need money, although you never asked me for it yourself. Let's see, we agreed on 30 rubles a month, did we not?
40, ma'am.
No, 30. I made a note of it. I always pay my governesses 30. Who told you 40?
You did, ma'am. I spoke to no one else concerning money.
Impossible. Maybe you thought you heard 40 when I said 30. If you kept your head up, that would never happen. Look at me again and I'll say it clearly. 30 rubles a month.
Yes, ma'am.
Then it's settled. 30 a month it is. Now then, you've been here 2 months exactly.
2 months and 5 days.
No, exactly 2 months. I made a note of it. You should keep books the way I do, so there wouldn't be these discrepancies. So, we have 30 rubles a month for 2 months, comes to 60 rubles, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Now then, we subtract 9 Sundays. We did agree to subtract Sundays, didn't we?
No, ma'am.
Eyes! Certainly we did. I've always subtracted Sundays. I didn't bother making a note of it because I always do it. Don't you recall when I said we will subtract Sundays?
No, ma'am.
Think!
No, ma'am.
You weren't thinking. Your eyes were wandering. Look straight at my face and look hard. Do you remember now?
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't hear you, Julia!
Yes, ma'am.
Good. I was sure you'd remember. Plus 3 holidays, correct?
2, ma'am. Christmas and New Year's.
And your birthday. That's 3.
I worked on my birthday ma'am.
You did. There was no need to. My governesses never worked on their birthdays.
But I did work, ma'am.
But that's not the question, Julia. We're discussing financial matters now. I will, however, only count 2 holidays if you insist. Do you insist?
I did work, ma'am.
Then you do insist.
No, ma'am.
Very well. That's 3 holidays, therefore we take off 12 rubles. Now then, 4 days, little Kolya was sick and there were no lessons.
But I gave lessons to Vanya.
True, but I engaged you to teach 2 children, not 1. Shall I pay you in full for doing only half the work?
No, ma'am.
So we'll deduct it. 3 days you had a toothache, and my husband gave you permission to leave work after lunch.
After 4, I worked until 4.
I have here did not work after lunch. We have lunch at 1 and are finished at 2, not at 4, correct?
Yes, but
That's another 7 rubles off. 7 and 12 is 19, subtract, that leaves 41 rubles, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Now then, on January 4th, you broke a teacup and saucer. Is that true?
Just the saucer, ma'am.
What good is a teacup without a saucer? Huh? 2 rubles. It was an heirloom. It cost much more than I'll let it go. I'm used to taking losses.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now then, on January 9th, Kolya climbed a tree and tore his jacket.
I forbid him to do so, ma'am.
But he didn't listen, did he? 10 rubles. January 14th, Vanya's shoes were stolen.
By the maid, ma'am. You discharge her yourself.
But you get paid good money to watch everything. I explained this in our first meeting. Perhaps you weren't listening. Were you listening that day, Julia, or was your head in the clouds?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, your head was in the clouds?
No, ma'am. I was listening.
Good girl. That's another 5 rubles off. Ah, yes. The 16th of January, I gave you 10 rubles.
You didn't, ma'am.
But I made a note of it. Why would I make a note of it if I didn't give it to you?
I don't know, ma'am.
That's not a satisfactory answer, Julia. Why would I make a note of giving you 10 rubles if I did not in fact give it to you? No answer? Then I must have given it to you, mustn't I?
If you say so, ma'am.
Well, certainly I say so. That's the point of this little talk, to clear these matters up. So, we take 27 from 41, that leaves 14, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What's this? Tears? Are you crying? Has something made you unhappy, Julia? It pains me to see you like this. I'm so sensitive to tears. What is it?
Only once since I've been here have I ever been given any money, and that was on my birthday. Your husband gave me 3 rubles.
Really? There's no note of it in my book. I'll put it down now. 3 rubles. Thank you for telling me. Sometimes I'm a little lax with my accounts, always shortchanging myself. So, we take 3 more from 14, that leaves 11 rubles. Do you wish to check my figures?
It's not necessary, ma'am.
Then we're all settled. Here's your salary for 2 months, dear. 11 rubles. Count it.
There's no need, ma'am.
Come, let's keep the record straight. Count it. 7, 8, 9, 10.
There's only 10, ma'am.
Are you sure? Possibly you dropped one. Look on the floor, see if there's a coin.
I didn't drop any, ma'am. I'm quite sure.
Well, it's not here on my desk, and I know I gave you 11 rubles. Look on the floor.
It's all right, ma'am. 10 will be fine.
Well, keep the 10 for now, and if we don't find it on the floor later, we'll discuss it again next month.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. You're very kind, ma'am.
Julia, come back here. Why did you thank me?
For the money, ma'am.
For the money? But don't you realize what I've done? I cheated you, robbed you. I have no such notes in my book. I made up whatever came into my mind. Instead of the 80 rubles which I owe you, I gave you only 10. I have actually stolen from you, and still you thank me. Why?
In all the other places that I've worked, they didn't give me any money at all.
Then they cheated you even worse than I did. I was playing a little joke on you, a cruel lesson just to teach you. You're much too trusting, and in this world that's very dangerous. I'm going to give you the entire 80 rubles. It's all ready for you. The rest is in this envelope. Here, take it.
As you wish, ma'am.
Julia, is it possible to be so spineless? Why don't you protest? Why don't you speak up? Why don't you cry out against this cruel and unjust treatment? Is it really possible to be so guileless, so innocent, such a, pardon me for being so blunt, such a simpleton?
Yes, ma'am. It is possible.
For those of you, again, who are offended by life's cruelties, there is an alternate ending. Julia was so enraged by such cruel and unjust treatment that she quit her job on the spot and went all the way back home to her poor parents, where she inherited 5 million rubles. You know, it is my intention to someday write a book of 37 short stories, all with that same ending. I do love it so. You know, it has been said that man is the only living creature that is capable of laughter, and it is that faculty that separates us from the lower forms of life. Yet, one must wonder about this theory when we examine some of the objects of our laughter. For example, pain. Pain, needless to say, is no laughing matter. That is, unless, of course, someone else is doing the suffering for you. Why the sight of a man with an abscessed tooth that has enlarged his jaw to the size of an orange is funny, I cannot say. But in the village of Ostemko, where they have very little access to entertainment, a man with a toothache can tickle their ribs for weeks. Certainly, Sergei von Mizgalov saw nothing humorous about it. Yet, as he passed through the village of the hospital, his moans and groans brought him more chuckles than sympathetic remarks. Wouldn't the poor villagers of Ostemko find it even more amusing to know that the good doctor who usually operated on patients was out that week to celebrate the wedding of his young daughter, and the duty fell to his new assistant, Curriative, an eager medical student, if alas the poor sexton, an inexperienced one. Whoa.
Greetings, Father. What brings you here?
The pain! The pain is unbearable. No, it's worse than unbearable. It is unendurable.
Where exactly is the pain?
Where isn't it? It's not just the tooth, it's the whole side of my mouth. Ah!
How long have you had this out of your
10 years.
10 years?
Since yesterday morning, it felt like 10 years. I must have sinned terribly to deserve this. God must have dropped all other business to deal with me this way. Ah! Where's the doctor?
The doctor's away in personal business. He's left the care of his patients in my young, capable hands.
Are you a doctor?
In every way, except a degree.
Oh, well then, I'm a patient to be. Goodbye.
I can assure you, Father, the only thing that prevents me by being called doctor is the formality of an examination. I'm skilled, I'm just not talented, you see. Please, I beg for this opportunity. Please sit in the chair, Father.
All right. Heaven help me today. Even sitting hurts.
No doubt the nerves are inflamed. Once you move, the pain will cease to be.
You're going to remove the nerve.
The tooth that's connected to the nerve. It's a simple matter of surgery.
Your cigar.
What?
Your cigar is burning my eyes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you rather I take it out? I only smoke it to steady my nerves.
Smoke it, smoke the cigar.
All right. Now let's have a look.
I pray for you. I pray to the saints in heaven. Be gentle with me. Spare me pain.
My dear Sexton, we are living in an age of advanced science. In skilled hands, there's no longer need for pain. If it's gentle as you want, it's gentle as you have. Now you ready? Good. Can you please open your mouth so I can examine you? Come, open your mouth, please. My dear Sexton, as inexperienced as I am, I know it's essential you open your mouth. It's mandatory to all work concerning your mouth to have it open first. It'd be highly impractical for me to take your tooth out from the outside. Now please, open up. Not the lips, the entire mouth. I don't want to brush your teeth, I want to examine them.
Will you be gentle?
Didn't I promise you I would?
As a child, I was promised many things that I never got.
There is no pain connected to this part. This part is merely examination to figure out what must be done, where, and how. Now open up! Thank you! Alright, let's have a look. Ah! There it is! There's the young little fellow. You're a nasty one, aren't you?
What are you doing? Stop talking to it. Don't pull it out.
Don't rush me, I'm evaluating! Your tooth has a hole big enough to drive a horse in that carries you.
What is it?
It's even disgusting to look at. But if this is going to be my profession, I have to get used to these things. Now I'm going to try something.
Be gentle.
As though I were your own mother.
My mother didn't like me gentler.
All I'm going to do is gently blow on your tooth. That's all. All right? Excuse me? Here goes. I have some news for you. The nerve is exposed.
That's not how far science has come. Blowing on teeth!
I mean, it's still inconclusive. More work must be done in this field. So much depends on the temperature of the doctor's breath. Ah! Here we are!
What are you going to do with those?
The tooth has to be pulled out. And you know, quicker you can spit.
Sweet mercy.
Surgery is nothing. It's all a matter of firm grip.
I pray for you. I pray for the good Lord in heaven. May He enlighten your soul. May He give you health and quickness. Mostly quickness.
Amen.
Amen.
Now, some teeth come out easily. This will give you no trouble. It's only when the roots are deep. Hope you prepare for shallow roots.
Huh?
All right, here goes. Don't do that. Don't grab my hand. Let go. Let go, I say. You've got my hand again. If I'm gonna pull your teeth out, I need my hand. Now let go. If you're not gonna let go, I'm gonna take these forceps and pull your fingers out. Let's try once more. Don't twitch. Sit still. You're twitchy again. And the important thing is to get a deep enough hold so we don't break the crown. All right. I got a firm grip on the little monster. Now, whatever I do, don't grab my hands. I'm already gonna have enough trouble with your tooth without you interfering. Steady now. When I say three. 1, 2, 3. I pulled it out! My first tooth!
You pulled it all right. I hope they pull you into the next life like that.
Oh, I knew it! The crown broke. You still got the roots in your mouth. Oh, what a mess it's gonna be! I told you not to twitch!
You butcher. You carpenter. You are God's vengeance on me for my sins. Compared to you, the toothache was a joke.
You ignorant peasant! The only thing thicker than the roots of your teeth are the braids in your head! Now get back in that chair! We have unfinished business!
No. Stay back, sorcerer. If your hands get near my mouth, they'll be the first solid food I've eaten in a week.
I'm leaving here! So those roots come out of your mouth! Crush your professional pride!
I give up.
I failed in my duty!
Come, my daughter, let us pray for a miracle. Our dear Lord in heaven,
Dear God above,
I pray for this good doctor.
I pray for this poor creature.
Keep her hand steady.
Keep his mouth open.
Don't let her falter.
Don't let him bite me.
Hail Mary.
Hail Mary.
Hail Mary.
Hail Mary.
Hail Mary.
Hail Mary.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon.
Ah, fine weather. Fine weather indeed, wouldn't you say, madam?
I hadn't noticed really, but yes, I suppose it's a lovely day.
Not many more of these left. Winter's just beyond that tree there.
Winters seem to be getting longer lately. Have you noticed that? They come sooner and stay longer.
I have noticed it, madam. Only in these past few years have I noticed it.
Kind, gentle-looking person. You've seen his share of life. Kind, gentle-looking person. And he's never with a wife. This kind, gentle-looking gentleman speaks once again to me. Should this shy, nervous, widowed lady go out to share some tea?
Fine figure of a lady with quality and tone. A fine figure of a lady, and she always sits alone. Should this old weather-beaten gentleman, who's older than the sea, ask a fine figure of a lady if she'd like to share some tea? I was wondering, madam.
Yes?
I was wondering. Do you have the time of day?
I don't carry a timepiece.
Ah, no matter, my business wasn't urgent. It can wait. Should this old weather-beaten gentleman take one more chance at life? She reminds me of that sweet lady whom I lovingly called wife. my scarf for you now.
Thank you. No. I should be getting home. It's getting late.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing. The same thing. Unless you would care to join me for a cup of tea. A cup of hot tea might be the right thing. A cup of tea.
Tea? Tea, you say? Well, it's very nice of you. I'd love to.
You would?
Yes. But not today. It's getting late. Perhaps tomorrow?
Yes. Tomorrow's good. Of course.
Good day, sir.
Good day, madam.
Still time for happiness, time to be gay. Still time to answer yes.
But just not Peter Semyonich was the greatest seducer of other men's wives that I have never known. He was successful, in fact, with all women, but there was a certain challenge to prominent women married to rich, successful men. Now, I could never do him justice. Let him tell you in his own words.
Now, if I say so myself, I am the greatest seducer of other men's wives that I've ever met. I say this not boastfully now, but as a matter of record. The staggering figures speak for themselves. Now, for those men who are interested in playing this highly satisfying but often dangerous game, I urge you to take out a pen and paper and take notes, for I will be explaining my methods. Now, in defense, married women may do likewise, but do them little good when they happen to be the chosen victims. And my methods have never failed. Now then, there are 3 vital characteristics needed. They are patience, more patience, and still more patience. Those who do not have the strength to wait and or persist, I urge you to take up bicycling or even rowing perhaps, because seducing is not for you. Now then, in order to seduce a man's wife, you must, and I repeat, you must, keep as far away from her as possible. Pay her practically little to no attention at all. Ignore her if you must, because we'll be getting to her through the husband. You are about to witness a practical demonstration now, for as it happens, I am madly and deeply in love this week. My heart pounds with anticipation, knowing that she will walk through this garden at any moment with her husband. Every fiber of my being just tells me to throw my arms around her and embrace her with all the passion in my heart. But observe how master works. I shall be cool, almost to the point of freezing. My heart of hearts, spouse, approaches.
Ah, Peter Semyonich! Fancy meeting you here!
Oh, my dear Nicholas, how good to see you. You're looking really well. Notice how I'm not even looking at her.
Thank you! Hey, you gay double, you're always looking well! Excuse me, have you met my wife Irina? Of course you have. You sat next to her at dinner at the Veshnovs. I don't know what this man said to you, but I must warn you, he is a scoundrel, a notorious bachelor, and an exceptional swordsman.
Well,
That's the best I can say for you, Peter.
Nicky, you exaggerate, my friend. Madam, it's good to see you again.
Well, we were just taking a stroll. If you're not busy, why don't you walk with us?
That's actually very kind of you, Nicholas. But you see, as a matter of fact, I am riveted to the spot. A new romance has just entered my life, and my legs are like pillars of granite. Until she is out of sight, I will be incapable of movement. Too much, do you think? As I said, be patient.
Fantastic. You never cease to amaze me. Pretty, I suppose?
Suppose magnificent. Suppose glorious, and you will suppose correctly.
Any complications?
As usual, a husband. I'm afraid my cause looks hopeless.
Nonsense, Peter. I'm placing my money on you, and you know I never bet unless I'm sure of winning. Well, we're off. Good hunting, my boy. Good hunting.
Madam? Woo! Beautifully done, don't you think? Sometimes awed by the work of a true professional. Did you notice how our eyes barely met? We exchanged hardly a word, and how much of me she knows already. A, I am a popular bachelor. B, a man in love, always titillating toward romantic women. C, a gifted sportsman, a nice contrast to her sedentary husband. And D, this is the most important now, a dangerous man with the ladies. Now, quite frankly, at this point, she's disgusted by me, because A, I'm a braggart and a scoundrel. B, I am shamelessly frank as to my intentions. And C, because she doesn't think she's the one I'm interested in. Please forgive me if I'm slightly overcome by my own deviousness. By the way, are you getting all this down? It gets tricky from here on in. Now then, the next step is hypnosis. And no, not the hypnosis with your eyes, but with the poison of your tongue. Much like a venomous snake moving into the kill. And what's more, the best channel is the husband himself. So witness as I accidentally run into him one day at the club.
Oh, Peter! Sid, you're looking glum. I'm taking your pursuit isn't going well.
Isn't that obvious? I'm doomed, Nikki. I'm doomed. I haven't seen her since I last met you and your dear wife. I sleep little and I eat less. I've had all my shirt collars taken in a half-inch. Nikki, why do I waste my valuable youth chasing women I can never truly call my own? How I envy you.
Me? What is there that you envy about me?
Well, your marriage, of course. A charming woman, your wife, let me tell you.
Really? What is it that fascinates you about her so?
Her grace. Her quiet charm. Her everything. But mostly, Nikki, it's the way she looks at you. Oh, if only someone were to look at me like that with such adoring and loving eyes. It must send quivers through your body.
Quivers? No, not really.
A tingle, perhaps? Don't tell me you don't tingle when she looks at you.
Of course, oh, by all means. I tingle all the time.
She's an ideal woman, Nikki. And believe that from a lonely bachelor. Be glad that fate gave you a wife like that.
Well, perhaps fate will be kind to you as well.
That's what I'm counting on. Good heavens, I'm late for my doctor's appointment.
Oh, what is he treating you for?
Melancholia. Please say hello to your extraordinary wife. But I urge you not to repeat this conversation. It might hurt her fragile sensitivities. Oh, where is the woman for me? I know her, but the question is, how soon will she be mine? You see, there's still work to be done, but not by me, of course. That task belongs to my hand and to my opponents.
Oh, by the way, I saw Peter Simmons today. The bachelor? That attractive fellow, you remember.
I remember what a loathsome man he is.
Well, you may not think so when you hear what he had to say about you.
Nothing that braggart had to say would interest me.
He spoke most enthusiastically about you. He was enraptured by your grace, your quiet charm, and he seemed to feel that you were capable of loving a man in some extraordinary way. There was something about your eyes and the way you looked so adoringly. He certainly had a lot to say about you. Well, good night, my dear.
Good night, then. What else? What else did you have to say about me?
Peter?
Whatever that loathsome man's name is. What else did Peter Simmons have to say about me?
Well, that's more or less what I told you.
But you said he went on and on.
He did.
But you stopped. If you went on and on, either go on and on, or let's go to bed.
Well, he said how much he envied me. How much he wanted someone to look at him the same way you look at me.
How does he know how I look at you?
Well, that day in the gardens. He must have been looking at you when you were looking at me. It sent a tingle through my whole body.
The way I looked at you?
Exactly, my precious.
Well, he definitely couldn't have seen how I was looking at you, because I was looking at the flowers because he made me nervous the way he kept avoiding looking at me. You must have tingled for some other reason.
It's getting rather confusing. The point is, he found you fascinating. I thought it would please you.
Well, it doesn't. I'd rather you didn't tell me such stories. Are you planning to see him again soon?
Tomorrow for lunch.
Well, I'd rather not to be discussed over lunch, and tell him that. But at dinner, you can tell me what he said.
Good night, my angel.
Good night, my love. I am spellbound by my own powers. I succeeded not only in piquing her interest, but to have her heart flutter at the very mention of my name. The same man she called lonesome not 2 minutes ago. Now all this was accomplished, mind you, while I was at home taking a pine-scented bath. Luncheon the next day was not only nourishing, but productive. So, by the way, old man, I ran into Nikrasov yesterday. You know, the artist. Well, it turns out he's been commissioned by a wealthy prince to paint the head of a typical Russian beauty. And he asked me to be a lookout for a model for him. Now, I said I knew just the lady, but of course I didn't dare to ask her myself. So, what do you think about asking your wife?
Ask my wife what?
Well, to be the model, of course. You know, with that lovely head of hers and all. You know, it would be a damn shame if that exquisite face of hers missed a chance to become immortalized for all the world.
For all the world? Really? I see what you mean.
Well, then why don't you go discuss it with her?
Good idea. Well, I'll discuss it with him. So I said I would discuss it with you. What do you think?
I think it's nonsense. I mean, how did he put it to you? Did he actually say a typical Russian beauty?
Precisely. And that it would be a damn shame if that face missed a chance to become immortalized for all the world.
He gets caught up by his own voice. He said those exact words? You didn't leave anything out?
Let me think. It's hard to remember.
It's okay, Nikki. I just wish for the future that you would write these things down.
Have you seen me near her? Have you heard me speak to her? Has any correspondence passed between us? No, my dear pupils, and yet she hangs on every word uttered by her husband. Awesome, isn't it? You see, we apply this treatment from 2 to 3 weeks. Her resistance is weakening, weakening, weakening.
I think his mind is elsewhere, if you ask me. On some woman from the Lexington.
What woman? Has he mentioned any woman in particular?
Oh no, he's too discreet for that. He'll protect her good name at all costs. Instead, he talks about you all day. Poor fool, I'm beginning to feel sorry for him.
Nikki, it's really none of our concern. Did you ask him for dinner tomorrow?
He's busy.
The next day?
Busy.
Next week? Next month? Does that man eat?
He said that he's involved in a very important project, and that it will be months before he will be able to see us again. He did say that with great patience and persistence, good things will come to him. By the way, he thinks you should go to the stage.
The stage? Me? On stage? Why in heaven's name?
One second, I don't want to misquote it.
Oh no, Nikki, please take your time. I'd rather you get it as accurately as possible.
Yes. With such an attractive appearance, such intelligence, sensitiveness, it's a shame for her to just be a housewife.
Oh dear, you said that?
Yes, and that ordinary demands don't exist for such women.
Oh, Nikki, I don't think I can hear anymore.
Natures like that should not be bound by time and space.
Nikki, I implore you, please stop.
And then he says, if I weren't so busy, I'd take her away from you.
He said that?
Yeah, right here.
What did you say, Mickey? It's important I know what you said to him.
Oh, well, I said, take her then. I'm not gonna fight a duel over her.
Nikki, I beg you never to mention my name to him ever again. Nothing.
But I don't, my love. He's the one who always brings up the subject. He actually accused me of not understanding you. He shouted at me. She's an exceptional creature, strong, seeking a way out. If I were Turgenev, I would put her in the novel. The passionate angel, I would call it. The man is weird. Definitely weird.
He's delivering my love letters, seals them with kisses, and he calls me weird. So let's see what we've got so far. The poor woman is definitely consumed with a passion to meet me. She is sure I'm the only man who truly understands her. Her yawning, disinterested husband transmits my remarks, but it is my voice that she hears, my words that sing in her heart. Oh, the sweet poison is doing its work. I am relentless. There's absolutely no room for mercy in the seducing business. So observe how deftly the final stroke is administered. And for the faint of heart, I urge you to look away.
No, Nikki, not another word. Nothing.
But exactly, my love. He begged me to tell you nothing. He said that he knew because of your sweet, sympathetic nature, you couldn't help to hear of someone else's distress.
He's in distress.
Worse, he's gloomy, morose, morbid, in the depths of despair.
Oh no. But why? What's the matter with him?
Loneliness. He says he has no true friends, no relatives, not a soul who understands him.
Well, doesn't he know how much we understand him perfectly? Doesn't he know how much we commune with him daily? Doesn't he know how much we yearn to be with him? You and I.
Well, I tried to make that clear to him. I urged him to come to dinner with us. But he's so depressed, he can't face people. Instead, he paces in the public garden where we met him every night.
What time?
Between 8 and 9. Oh, by the way, we're invited to the Voskovics tomorrow. Is 10 o'clock all right for you?
No, I'm visiting Aunt Sophia tomorrow. She's ill.
Oh.
I'll be there at 9. Or a little after.
I share this great honor with my friend and collaborator, her husband. He did her so successfully that there is no carriage fast enough for her to be in my arms. She ran all the way. Observe. Now for the conclusion, you will understand if I urge you to busy yourselves with your programs or such. These next few moments are rather private, and I am, after all, a gentleman. Oh, my dear sweet angel, at last I can speak the words that I've longed.
No, not another word. I couldn't merit it. Not until you've heard what's in my heart. For weeks now, I've been in torment. You've used my husband as a clever and devious device, which I freely admit. I've been lying dormant for 7 years. You've awakened in me desires and longings that I've never dreamt were possible. You appeal to my ambiguity, and I succumb. You bestir my thoughts of untold pleasures, and I weaken. You attack my every vulnerability, and I surrender. I'm here for you, Semyonich. If you want me, well, let me add this. I love my husband dearly. He is neither a passionate nor remotely romantic man, but our life together has neither reached the heights of ecstasy nor the depths of anguish. We have an even marriage, moderate and comfortable. And accepting those conditions is wholly devoted love. I have been happy. I come to you now knowing that once you take me in your arms, my life and marriage with Nikki will be destroyed for all time. I beg you not to use my name as amusement, although, even with that knowledge, I could not refuse you. I'm too weak and too selfish to make a choice. I rely on your strength of character. The choice is yours, my dear, sweetest love of my life. If you want me, open your arms and I will come to you. If you love me, turn your back, and I will never see or speak to you again. I await your decision. God bless you, Peter Sentiment. I hope life brings you happiness you just brought to me.
Peter Semyonich, the former seducer of other men's wives, from that day forward turned his attentions to single, unmarried women only. Until one fateful day when he met the perfect girl and they married. He is now today a completely happy man. That is, of course, unless that one fateful day where a dashing young officer comes up to him and tells him how beautiful he finds his lovely young wife.